Good morning/afternoon/evening, everyone. I want you to take a moment and think back to when you were a child, one of those moments when you were overwhelmed, frustrated, or just downright upset. Now, I want you to think about how the adults in your life responded. Did they rush to fix it? Did they dismiss your feelings with phrases like "you're fine" or "stop crying"? Or did someone sit beside you, listen, and say, "I'm here. Tell me what's going on"? When we talk about helping an upset child, what we're really talking about is connection. The moments when a child is struggling are not just opportunities for discipline or correction, they are moments for deep emotional learning. And as adults, whether we are parents, teachers, or caregivers, our role is not to erase their discomfort but to guide them through it. One of the biggest mistakes we make when a child is upset is jumping straight into problem-solving mode. We say things like, "Don't worry, it's not a big deal," or "let's just do this instead." But let me tell you something, emotions don't work that way. When a child is upset, what they need first is not a solution but a safe space to feel. Empathy sounds like, when we validate their emotions, we give them permission to experience their feelings without shame. And when we do that, we teach them how to regulate those emotions in the future. Imagine this: a child comes home after a tough day at school. They slam their backpack down, cross their arms, and refuse to talk. What's our instinct? Maybe we say, "Don't act like that," or "What's wrong with you?" But what if, instead, we created an environment where it was okay to feel? Emotional safety means allowing kids to express emotions without fear of being shamed or punished. It means replacing "calm down" with "I see that you're really upset, can we take a deep breath together?" When a child feels emotionally safe, they are far more likely to open up and learn how to manage their feelings in a healthy way. Children are not born knowing how to process emotions. Just like we teach them to read, we must also teach them the language of feelings. If a child is upset but doesn't know why, that frustration builds inside them. Teaching emotional literacy means helping them name their feelings. Are you feeling sad because your friend didn't sit with you at lunch? When we help children name their emotions, we empower them to understand themselves better. And with understanding comes resilience. Here's the truth: children don't just listen to what we say, they watch what we do. If we respond to their big emotions with anger or frustration, we are teaching them that emotions are something to be feared. But if we model calmness, if we take deep breaths and speak with kindness even when we are frustrated, they will learn that emotions are something to be managed, not avoided. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is the foundation of connection. If a child sees that we, too, have emotions and handle them with care, they will learn to do the same. Closing thoughts. Helping an upset child is not about fixing their problems or controlling their behavior, it's about teaching them how to navigate the storms of their own emotions. It's about showing up with empathy, creating emotional safety, building their emotional literacy, and modeling what healthy emotional regulation looks like. Because at the end of the day, what every child needs to hear is this: I see you. I hear you. And I'm here with you. Empathy over fixing is one of the most powerful approaches we can take when helping an upset child. Often, when we see a child in distress, our first instinct is to jump into problem-solving mode. We want to make the pain go away, to soothe the frustration, to remove the obstacle. We do this not because we are indifferent to their emotions, but because we care. We want to help. We want to fix. But what we sometimes forget is that emotions are not problems to be solved. They are experiences to be felt, understood, and processed. When we rush to fix things for a child, we unintentionally send the message that their feelings are inconvenient, that they should be quickly erased instead of honored. Imagine a child coming home from school, throwing their backpack on the floor, and saying, "I hate today. Everything went wrong." Our natural response might be something like, "What happened?" followed by an immediate attempt to fix it, maybe suggesting they do something fun to distract themselves or offering solutions like talking to the teacher or making a plan to avoid similar problems in the future. While these responses come from a place of love, they can feel dismissive to the child. What they often hear is, "I don't want to sit with you in this feeling. Let's move on." Empathy, on the other hand, allows us to sit with them in their emotions. It allows us to say, "That sounds really hard. I'm here for you." Instead of trying to remove the feeling, we acknowledge it. We let the child know that their emotions are real, valid, and worthy of being felt. When we do this, we give them something far more valuable than a quick fix. We give them the ability to process emotions in a healthy way. Children don't always have the words to express what they're feeling, and when they are overwhelmed, their brains are not in problem-solving mode. A child who is upset is often operating from their emotional brain, not their logical brain. This is why trying to talk them out of their emotions doesn't work in the moment. They don't need logic first, they need connection. When we meet them with empathy, we help them regulate their emotions by showing them that they are not alone. Once they feel seen and understood, they are far more likely to engage in problem solving on their own. But it has to start with empathy. Think about a time when you, as an adult, were upset. Maybe you had a stressful day at work or a conflict with a friend. If you went to someone for support and they immediately jumped to, "Well, here's what you should do," you might feel dismissed. You might just want them to say, "That sounds really frustrating. I understand why you feel that way." Children need the same. They need to be met with understanding before they are met with solutions. One of the most powerful phrases we can use when helping an upset child is, "I see you. I hear you. I'm here." This simple statement acknowledges their emotions, lets them know they are not alone, and provides a sense of safety. Sometimes, all a child needs is a safe space to release their feelings. They don't always need answers right away, they need presence. Empathy also teaches children that their emotions are not something to be feared or avoided. When we rush to fix, we inadvertently teach them that big emotions should be pushed aside or quickly resolved. But when we sit with them in their feelings, we teach them that emotions are a natural part of life. We show them that it's okay to be upset, frustrated, or disappointed. Over time, this builds emotional resilience. Children who are given space to process their emotions develop stronger coping skills, better emotional regulation, and a deeper sense of self-awareness. One of the challenges in practicing empathy over fixing is our own discomfort with emotions. As adults, we often want to make things better quickly because we struggle to sit with discomfort, both our own and our child's. When a child is crying or angry, it can be difficult for us to stay calm and present. But our ability to model emotional regulation in these moments is crucial. If we react with frustration or impatience, we send the message that emotions are overwhelming or unacceptable. But if we respond with calmness, presence, and understanding, we show them that emotions are manageable. It's important to remember that empathy does not mean allowing all behaviors. We can validate a child's emotions while also setting boundaries around their actions. If a child is upset and starts yelling or throwing things, we can say, "I see that you're really frustrated. It's okay to feel angry, but it's not okay to throw things. Let's find a different way to express this." This approach acknowledges their feelings while also guiding them toward a healthier response. Another key aspect of empathy over fixing is asking open-ended questions that encourage children to explore their emotions rather than rushing to solutions. Instead of saying, "Here's what you should do," we can ask, "What do you think would help you feel better?" or "What's the hardest part about this for you?" These questions invite them to engage in their own problem-solving when they are ready, while still feeling supported. We also need to be mindful of the language we use. Phrases like "You're fine," "It's not a big deal," or "Don't be upset" may seem harmless, but they can minimize a child's experience. Instead, we can use phrases that show understanding, such as "I can see that this is really upsetting for you," or "I know this is hard, and I'm here to help you through it." Practicing empathy over fixing is not always easy. It requires us to slow down, to resist the urge to fix right away, and to be fully present with a child's emotions. But the impact is profound. When we respond with empathy, we strengthen our connection with children. We build their confidence in their ability to handle emotions. We teach them that they are worthy of being heard. And perhaps most importantly, we give them the tools to navigate their feelings in a way that will serve them for the rest of their lives. At the end of the day, our goal is not to shield children from every difficult emotion, but to walk beside them as they learn to navigate their emotional world. When we choose empathy over fixing, we give them the greatest gift, the knowledge that they are not alone in their struggles, and that their feelings matter. Creating emotional safety is one of the most crucial aspects of helping an upset child. Emotional safety is the foundation upon which trust, self-expression, and resilience are built. When children feel emotionally safe, they know they can express their feelings without fear of punishment, shame, or dismissal. They feel secure in the knowledge that their emotions are valid and that they will be met with understanding rather than judgment. Without emotional safety, children may learn to suppress their emotions, become disconnected from their feelings, or struggle with emotional regulation. One of the most important ways to create emotional safety is by being a consistent and calm presence in a child's life. Children look to the adults around them to gauge whether it is safe to express their emotions. If an adult reacts with frustration, impatience, or anger when a child is upset, the child may internalize the message that their emotions are too much or that they need to hide how they feel. On the other hand, when an adult responds with warmth, patience, and empathy, the child learns that their feelings are acceptable and that they will not be abandoned or rejected for having them. Children are naturally emotional beings, and their ability to regulate their emotions is still developing. They experience big feelings: anger, sadness, frustration, disappointment, and they don't always know how to manage them. If they are met with emotional safety, they can learn that it is okay to feel these emotions and that they can be worked through in a healthy way. If, however, they are met with criticism or dismissal, they may learn to suppress their emotions, lash out in unhealthy ways, or develop anxiety around expressing themselves. One of the ways adults can create emotional safety is by validating a child's emotions, even when the emotions seem exaggerated or irrational. When a child is upset, it is not helpful to tell them they are overreacting or to try to convince them that what they feel is not real. Instead, we can validate their experience by saying things like, "I see that you are really upset right now. It's okay to feel this way," or "I understand that this was really disappointing for you." When we validate their emotions, we show them that we are listening, that their feelings matter, and that they don't need to hide what they are experiencing. Another key element of emotional safety is creating an environment where children feel comfortable expressing their emotions without fear of punishment. If a child is afraid that being upset will lead to consequences such as being sent to their room, losing privileges, or being scolded, they will learn to suppress their emotions rather than process them. This can have long-term effects on their ability to handle emotions in a healthy way. Instead of punishing a child for being upset, we can guide them through their emotions and teach them constructive ways to express themselves. This might look like saying, "I see that you're really angry right now. Let's take a deep breath together," or "I know you're feeling overwhelmed. Let's sit together for a moment and talk about it." Creating emotional safety also means being mindful of our own reactions to a child's emotions. Children are incredibly perceptive, and they pick up on the emotional cues of the adults around them. If a child sees that their emotions make an adult uncomfortable or that their feelings cause an adult to become angry, they may learn to suppress their emotions to keep the peace. On the other hand, if they see that their emotions are met with patience and understanding, they will feel safe expressing themselves. This means that as adults, we need to regulate our own emotions when responding to an upset child. Even if we feel frustrated or overwhelmed, we need to model calmness and reassure the child that they are not alone. One way to reinforce emotional safety is by offering children a space where they can process their emotions without pressure. Sometimes, children need time to work through their feelings before they are ready to talk. Instead of forcing them to immediately explain what's wrong or insisting that they use their words before they are ready, we can give them space while letting them know we are there for them. This might mean sitting quietly beside them, offering a comforting touch, or simply saying, "I'm here when you're ready to talk." When children know they have the freedom to process their emotions at their own pace, they feel safer expressing themselves. Another aspect of emotional safety is avoiding shaming language when a child is upset. Phrases like "stop crying," "you're being dramatic," or "that's not a big deal" can make a child feel like their emotions are wrong or unacceptable. Instead, we can use language that acknowledges their emotions and helps them navigate what they are feeling. Saying things like, "I know this is hard for you," or "It's okay to cry, I'm here with you," reinforces the message that their emotions are valid and that they don't have to go through them alone. It's also important to remember that emotional safety extends beyond just how we respond in moments of distress. It is built over time through daily interactions, through the way we listen to children, and through the way we engage with their emotions even when they are not upset. When we consistently show children that their emotions matter, that we respect their feelings, and that they are safe expressing themselves, we create a foundation of trust. This means being available when they need to talk, showing interest in their experiences, and reassuring them that they are loved and accepted no matter what emotions they are experiencing. Emotional safety also involves teaching children how to express their emotions in a healthy way. When a child is upset, they may not always have the words to describe what they are feeling. Instead of expecting them to communicate perfectly, we can help them by offering words to describe their emotions. We might say, "It looks like you're feeling frustrated because things didn't go the way you expected," or "Are you feeling sad because you were left out?" By helping them identify their emotions, we give them the tools to express themselves more effectively in the future. Finally, emotional safety is about creating a culture of connection rather than correction. When children feel safe expressing their emotions, they are more likely to seek support when they need it, rather than shutting down or acting out. They learn that their emotions are not a burden, that they don't have to be fixed, and that they are not alone in what they are feeling. When we prioritize emotional safety, we give children the confidence to navigate their emotions in a healthy way, knowing they are supported and loved. Teaching emotional literacy is one of the most important skills we can give children. Emotional literacy is the ability to recognize, understand, express, and regulate emotions in a healthy way. Just as we teach children how to read, write, and solve math problems, we must also teach them how to navigate their emotional world. Emotions are complex, and without guidance, children may struggle to identify what they are feeling or how to express those feelings appropriately. When children learn to understand their emotions, they gain the ability to communicate their needs, develop resilience, and build stronger relationships with others. Emotional literacy is not something children are born with. It must be nurtured and developed through consistent guidance, modeling, and practice. One of the first steps in teaching emotional literacy is helping children identify and name their emotions. Many young children start with a very limited emotional vocabulary, often using broad terms like happy, sad, or mad to describe a wide range of feelings. However, emotions are much more nuanced. A child who says they are mad may actually be feeling frustrated, disappointed, or hurt. A child who says they are sad may be feeling lonely, discouraged, or embarrassed. By expanding a child's emotional vocabulary, we help them better understand what they are feeling and why. This can be done through simple conversations, using books that explore different emotions, or even using visual aids like emotion charts that display a variety of feelings. When children have the words to describe their emotions, they are better equipped to process and communicate what they are experiencing. It is also important to normalize all emotions and reinforce the idea that no emotion is bad or wrong. Often, children receive the message intentionally or unintentionally that certain emotions are unacceptable. For example, a child who expresses anger may be told to calm down or stop being so upset, while a child who cries may be told, "You're fine" or "There's no reason to cry." While these responses may be well-intentioned, they can lead children to believe that some emotions should be suppressed rather than acknowledged and worked through. Instead of dismissing their emotions, we can validate them by saying things like, "I see that you're feeling really frustrated right now. That makes sense. I would feel frustrated too if that happened," or "It's okay to feel sad. I'm here if you want to talk about it." When children learn that all emotions are valid, they become more comfortable expressing what they feel rather than bottling up their emotions or acting out in unhealthy ways. Modeling emotional literacy is another powerful way to teach it. Children learn not only from what we tell them but also from what we show them. If they see the adults in their lives identifying and managing emotions in a healthy way, they are more likely to do the same. This means expressing our own emotions openly and appropriately. For example, instead of hiding frustration, we might say, "I'm feeling a little overwhelmed right now, so I'm going to take a deep breath before I continue working." Instead of suppressing sadness, we might say, "I feel sad because I miss someone, and that's okay. Everyone feels sad sometimes." By verbalizing our emotions and demonstrating healthy coping strategies, we teach children that emotions are a normal part of life and that they can be managed effectively. Teaching children how to recognize emotions in others is also an essential part of emotional literacy. Empathy is a key component of emotional intelligence, and it begins with the ability to read and understand the emotions of those around us. We can help children build this skill by encouraging them to notice facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice. For example, if a child sees a friend looking upset, we might ask, "How do you think they are feeling right now?" or "What do you think might have happened to make them feel that way?" These questions help children practice recognizing emotions in others and encourage them to respond with kindness and support. Role-playing different scenarios or reading books that highlight emotional experiences can also help children develop their ability to understand and connect with the emotions of others. Helping children learn healthy ways to express their emotions is another crucial aspect of emotional literacy. While all emotions are valid, not all behaviors are acceptable. A child who is angry may feel the urge to yell, hit, or throw things, but part of emotional literacy is learning how to express those emotions in a way that does not harm themselves or others. Instead of simply telling a child, "Don't do that," we can guide them toward more constructive ways of handling their emotions. For example, we might say, "I can see that you're really angry right now. Instead of hitting, let's take a deep breath together and talk about what you're feeling." Teaching children alternative ways to express emotions such as talking, drawing, writing, or using movement gives them the tools they need to handle strong feelings in a positive way. Another important part of emotional literacy is teaching children strategies for emotional regulation. Sometimes, emotions can feel overwhelming, and children need tools to help them manage those feelings. Simple techniques like deep breathing, counting to 10, taking a break, or engaging in a calming activity can be incredibly effective. Teaching these strategies proactively before a child is in the middle of an emotional outburst can help them feel more prepared when big emotions arise. For younger children, practicing these techniques through games or storytelling can make them more engaging and memorable. For older children, discussing how emotions affect the brain and body can help them understand why certain regulation strategies work. It is also essential to create an environment where children feel safe expressing their emotions. Emotional literacy cannot be developed in an environment where emotions are ignored, punished, or dismissed. Instead, children need to know that their feelings will be met with patience, understanding, and support. This means making time to talk about emotions regularly, checking in with children about how they are feeling, and ensuring that emotional expression is welcomed rather than discouraged. It also means being patient with children as they learn emotional literacy is a lifelong process, and children will make mistakes along the way. They may struggle to name their emotions, express them in unhelpful ways, or become overwhelmed at times. Our role is not to expect perfection but to guide them with consistency and compassion. When children develop emotional literacy, they gain confidence in their ability to navigate the ups and downs of life. They learn that emotions are not something to fear or avoid but something to understand and work through. They build stronger relationships, communicate more effectively, and develop resilience in the face of challenges. Emotional literacy is not just a skill for childhood, it is a foundation for a lifetime of emotional well-being. By teaching children how to understand, express, and regulate their emotions, we are giving them one of the most valuable tools they will ever have, the ability to navigate their inner world with awareness, confidence, and self-compassion. Modeling vulnerability and calmness is one of the most powerful ways we can support children, especially when they are upset. Children look to the adults around them for cues on how to respond to difficult emotions, and they learn far more from what we do than from what we say. When we model vulnerability, we show them that it is okay to have emotions, to struggle, and to express feelings openly. When we model calmness, we teach them that emotions can be managed, that challenges can be faced with steadiness, and that they are safe even in difficult moments. These two qualities, vulnerability and calmness, help create a supportive environment where children can learn emotional regulation, resilience, and self-acceptance. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality, it is a profound strength. Being vulnerable means being honest about emotions, admitting when we are struggling, and allowing ourselves to be seen as imperfect. Many adults grew up in environments where vulnerability was discouraged, where expressing sadness or frustration was seen as a sign of weakness. As a result, some may feel uncomfortable showing their emotions in front of children, believing that they need to appear strong and in control at all times. However, when we refuse to show vulnerability, we send an unintended message to children, that emotions should be hidden, that struggling is shameful, and that being strong means never needing help. Instead, when we embrace vulnerability, we teach children that emotions are a natural part of being human and that they do not need to suppress their feelings to be accepted. One way to model vulnerability is by openly expressing our own emotions in a healthy way. For example, instead of pretending everything is fine when we are stressed, we might say, "I'm feeling a little overwhelmed right now, so I'm going to take a few deep breaths to help myself feel calmer." This simple statement does two important things: it normalizes the experience of stress and it demonstrates a healthy way to manage it. Similarly, if we make a mistake, instead of covering it up or becoming defensive, we can acknowledge it by saying, "I made a mistake, and I feel frustrated about it. But mistakes are part of learning, and I'm going to try again." This teaches children that mistakes are not something to be feared or hidden but are a normal and expected part of life. Another way to model vulnerability is by sharing our past experiences in age-appropriate ways. When a child is feeling disappointed, we might share a time when we felt the same way and how we handled it. This helps children see that their emotions are not unique to them, that everyone, even the adults they look up to, has experienced similar feelings. For example, if a child is upset about losing a game, we might say, "I remember when I lost a game I really wanted to win. I felt really disappointed, and for a while, I didn't want to play again. But then I realized that losing is part of playing, and I focused on having fun instead of just winning." When children hear stories like these, they feel less alone in their emotions and more confident that they can get through difficult moments. While vulnerability is about openness, calmness is about stability. When a child is upset, they need to know that the adult they turn to is a steady and safe presence. If an adult responds to a child's distress with frustration, impatience, or panic, the child's distress is likely to escalate. On the other hand, when an adult remains calm, it helps regulate the child's emotions, signaling to them that they are safe and that their feelings can be handled. This is because of a psychological phenomenon called co-regulation. Children, especially young ones, rely on the nervous systems of the adults around them to help regulate their own emotions. If a child is overwhelmed and the adult becomes overwhelmed too, the child's distress deepens. But if the adult remains calm, the child's nervous system begins to settle, learning from the adult's steady presence. One way to model calmness is by practicing self-regulation in front of children. When we feel frustrated or upset, instead of reacting impulsively, we can take a deep breath, pause, and choose a thoughtful response. For example, if a child spills something and we feel irritation rising, instead of snapping, we might take a breath and say, "Accidents happen. Let's clean this up together." This not only prevents the situation from escalating but also teaches the child how to respond to mistakes with patience rather than frustration. Another key aspect of modeling calmness is using a steady tone of voice, especially when children are upset. A child who is having a meltdown or feeling overwhelmed needs an adult who speaks to them with warmth and reassurance. If we raise our voice or show visible frustration, the child may feel even more out of control. Instead, if we lower our voice, slow our speech, and use gentle words, we create a sense of safety. Saying something like, "I know this is hard for you. I'm here. We will figure this out together," can be incredibly calming to a child who is struggling. Physical presence also plays a role in modeling calmness. When a child is upset, our body language should communicate reassurance. Instead of standing over them or looking frustrated, we can sit at their level, make gentle eye contact, and offer a comforting touch if they are receptive to it. These nonverbal cues signal safety and help the child feel supported. It's also important to model calmness in situations where we don't have immediate control. Life is full of unexpected challenges, and children need to see that we can handle uncertainty without panic. For example, if plans change suddenly and a child is disappointed, instead of reacting with frustration, we can say, "I know we were looking forward to this, and it's disappointing that things changed. Let's think of something else we can do that would be fun." By handling unpredictability with a sense of steadiness, we teach children that they, too, can face uncertainty with resilience. When we consistently model both vulnerability and calmness, we give children the confidence to navigate their own emotions. They learn that it is okay to feel deeply, to express emotions openly, and to seek support when they need it. They also learn that emotions, no matter how strong, can be managed in a healthy way. They see that being strong does not mean hiding emotions but rather acknowledging them with honesty and handling them with care. By embracing vulnerability, we teach children that emotions are a natural and important part of life. By demonstrating calmness, we show them that emotions do not have to control us, that they can be understood, processed, and managed with care. Together, vulnerability and calmness create a powerful model for emotional well-being, one that helps children grow into emotionally intelligent, self-aware, and resilient individuals. It sounds like you're wrapping up a video or a speech for your channel. If you want a polished closing statement, you could say something like, "Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Your support means a lot, and I appreciate each and every one of you. See you in the next one. Let me know if you want me to tweak it." Smiling face with smiling eyes.